feel like it was in the morning. Okay. And so I started asking myself, like, where did that footage come from? Right. We should look into that. Let me just say this right away. As a rule, when a tragedy happens, I don't love the people who have the instinct to immediately speak to the press after a tragedy. What I mean to say is that imagine you're on campus somewhere, a shooting happens, students are screaming, they're running, somebody is dead. I feel that a normal person's instinct is to make sure their loved ones are okay in their immediate vicinity, make sure they are okay, obviously, and then to call and alert everyone who would be concerned that you're okay, right? Maybe your mom's texting you, like you're going to get on the phone first with like your mom and dad. You're not going to get on the phone with TMZ. You're not going to you're going to speak to the press first. I don't think so. So it's always a good question when you sense that something is wrong, as I very much sense right now with the Charlie Kirk assassination, to go back and reflect on who opened up to the press with information. Look, if you've been a long-time listener of the show, the mainstream media has been controlled by the CIA since Operation Mockingbird. And so I addressed that question. Who is it that gave the footage to TMZ? Why TMZ? Whose instincts would it be to give the footage to TMZ? If you're really just a person living out in Utah, surprised by everything, why are you giving it to like TMZ, which covers celebrity gossip out of Hollywood, right? The New York Post, that's not supposed to be a local paper, a local news source. Why would you hit up the New York Post? Which Utah citizen thought of TMZ first? Was it them or was it the feds? Well, we were able to stalk that. Okay, we were able, because gratefully, one of the individuals who owned the house spoke to a local news station the morning after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. His name, you're going to see, is Irwin Steele. Let's watch that footage of Irwin Steele the next morning.
Kathy Beckel led us to her backyard. She says police searched this area for the suspected gunman and his weapon. Just a few streets over, Irwin Steele was another neighbor who was met with officers in his front yard.
It was scary. It's. I know it's been said many times, but this is a safe place. This is a calm place. We're right next to the largest university in the state. But at the same time, they're generally good people.
Steele says they're helping authorities by giving them any footage they have on their outdoor cameras. But he says it's still startling to know the gunman could have been so close to their homes.
We have students going up and down the street all day long, and it's never been a threat to our safety. And so for something like this to happen, it's shocking. It's really shocking.
Seems like a good guy. I have no beef with him. Immediately, actually, I was wondering, why were we ever told that it was doorbell cam footage? It obviously was not doorbell cam footage. It's too high. Hence, the height of the footage in general. Secondly, like I said, this clip is from the morning after Charlie Kirk's assassination. So TMZ had already publicized that footage. And so that strikes me as a little odd. That would stipulate that either the feds, like I said, collected that footage the night before and then immediately gave to TMZ, or this guy himself gave it to TMZ before he gave it to the feds. So we're looking into Irwin, and we find that he doesn't just co-own just that one house on the streets with somebody else named Samuel Steele, but Samuel and his wife Carrie are the ones that own the house that gave the footage, not Irwin. But Irwin is saying that he lives in that house, but actually we found some other Steeles that live in that house. And I'm wondering, okay, that seems a little bit confusing. Maybe you're all family. You just go, oh, okay, well, we kind of own all of these houses, whatever. But that strikes me as a little bit odd. I decided to look a little bit further to see like what it was that he was in, like, what business is your family in? And it turns out that they work for an engineering place, a place that makes called Caldera Engineering. It's a company called Caldera Engineering, and ostensibly they manufacture valves. Okay. Now that stood out to me because I just find that the manufacturing of valves keeps coming up when I look into certain people, because I'm all about the genealogy, and I could name 3 people that I got curious about whose family manufactures valves. I don't know if that's a big business out in Utah, also in Canada. When I was looking into Harley Pasternak, that's exactly what his family did. They were in piping and valves, and I'm going, okay, whatever. A local source told me that virtually everyone on that block works for that company. The Steeles are a big family in Orem. Okay, fine. And it's like, yeah, that's something that our source, we have a very good source, said that whole block is pretty much employees of that engineering company, Caldera. Okay, just put that in the back of my mind. Looking for some other witnesses. I decided witnesses pertaining to Tyler Robinson. We have a second witness, And her account is kind of confusing to me, and I'm going to tell you why. First and foremost, her last name also happens to be Steele, but this one witnessed something 4 hours away. Her name is Sherry Steele, and she spoke to the BBC about how she had witnessed the police swarm the townhouse of Tyler Robinson and Lance while she was walking her dog in the evening. Here is what she says. I'm going to read it directly here from the article. This is from the article. It reads, Sherry Steele, who lives across the street from the residence, came back from an evening walk to see a large police presence. In a video that she showed the BBC, for some reason the BBC is not publishing this video, a loud voice, which she said belonged to the authorities, can be heard shouting, "Freeze!" and "Come out now." It just kind of blows your mind coming up the street and all of a sudden there are helicopters above your house, Ms. Steele said, adding that she had never spoken to Mr. Robinson. Okay. Couple of things that don't work about the testimony to me. First and foremost, it doesn't work with my timeline. I really care about my timeline here. Okay. She says she's walking her dog in the evening. We are told by the feds, well, 33 hours should have been nighttime, right? Their 33 hours should have been 9 p.m. Is when Tyler Robinson, that turned himself in. But then we found out from other sources that actually it was more like 7 o'clock p.m. Feds are saying 33 hours. That's 9 o'clock p.m. Certainly wouldn't describe it as an evening walk with your dog at that time. And by the way, at that time, according to our source, they didn't move at all. Okay. We're supposed to believe that it was overnight that they brought in Lance. And then, according to Lance's own family, it was overnight that they, after bringing Lance in around 11 o'clock p.m. ish, right? And then overnight is when they then swarm the household and then go through everything. So what's going on here? Second thing about Sherry Steele's, I can't find her. We stalked. We looked through databases. We contacted Lance's family to see if they're familiar with that name. I cannot find a woman named Sherry Steele that lives in that building complex, nor can I find her alleged footage that the BBC mentions the following morning. Just putting that out there. But let's move on, because there are going to be two more Steeles, this time minor children. We do know, according to the indictment, that there were children that witnessed, that were there for the shooting. And these children, like I said, are going to provide an eyewitness testimony to Charlie Kirk's shooting. And they are with their aunt, Tiffany. And they say that they saw what happened up close. And I believe you're going to hear them say that they were a family of 16. So like I said, my source says there are a ton of Steeles that are in Orem. Here is what these particular Steeles told Good Morning America in the early hours following Charlie's assassination, like the next day.